Um, I am in Montreal at the moment. My husband and I, we travelled over here on Saturday. So we got the flight from New York. No, not from New York, from London to New York. So our cruise goes on Tuesday with Azamara from Montreal. But we got so in order to use a companion voucher we had with BA, we got a flight return to New York. So our cruise finishes in New York, and we thought, well, we'll fly out to New York, we'll use a companion voucher, and then how can we get from New York to Montreal that's interesting? So instead of flying, we decided to get a train. So I'll tell you about that train in a minute. Sorry, that's my foot on the sofa, honestly. Basically, over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try and go live as per reception allows. And yeah, just tell you more about my trip and hopefully inspire you to take your own trip. We went to New York. We were in New York. We flew over by BA, economy. It was really good. Luckily, BA changed their loyalty scheme a few months ago. There was a big hoo-ha. But I still have loyalty at the moment. I won't soon. Only people really that fly full business, so regularly will get points. But that's by the by. If they're not loyal, I don't need to be loyal too. But anyway, so with BA, because I still have bonds, which is like the lowest loyalty at the moment, I was able to reserve seats. So we had a nice two-seater in the back of economy, and it was comfortable, quite a lot of leg room, and it was a good flight. We slept quite a lot during it after having a busy week before with work. And then we got to New York. So obviously we lose 5 hours, so we go back 5 hours. So in New York so usually I'd get the subway. I say usually, I've only been to New York twice before. I am one of those, twice, yeah. So I've got the subway from JFK to the city, Manhattan. But this time, we walked past the Long Island Railroad, and I said to Dave, let's get that for an adventure. Something different. And yeah, so we got the Long Island Railroad from Jamaica. So we got the air train to Jamaica from JFK Terminal 8 where we landed, and then we got the air train to Jamaica, and then from Jamaica we got the Long Island Railroad to Penn Station, because we were traveling from Penn Station on Sunday. So we were like, well, it kills two birds with one stone. It's a recce of the area, and our hotel was close to Penn Station, so that all worked out. So we went to Penn Station. I've forgotten how much it cost. I used my Monzo. I'm pretty sure it was about $8 each, I think. So more expensive than the subway, but a lot faster. And we bought tickets. We didn't use our tap-in. So we bought a ticket, and then there was a ticket conductor on the train who came to check your tickets. So there was no ticket gates in or ticket gates out. And there was an elevator. It was handy with our suitcases. So yeah, I'd use the Long Island Railroad again, definitely. It was very quick and efficient, and it was an adventure, and it got us to Penn Station. And then in Penn Station, we just had a little recce round, and then we walked to our hotel. That was about 3 blocks away, not far at all. And we were staying in the Holiday Inn Express, IHG, I think, the company that ran them, and it was in Chelsea, or Nomad. The area wasn't the nicest. It was very close to Madison Square Gardens, and very close to Penn Station. So it was really useful for us because we had to be at Penn Station by sort of 6:30 on Sunday morning. So being so close was really good. Didn't feel unsafe at all, but it just didn't feel like nice neighborhood. Yeah, I mean, it's New York, isn't it, And we're from London, and so we're used to being sort of savvy and safe, and yeah, use your common sense, don't you? You don't walk around with your valuables on show. You don't walk around with your phone right in front of your face, you just sensible, common sense, and we were fine. So we walked to our hotel, checked in, nice room. We were on the 6th floor, I think. And yeah, nice room, clean room, quiet room. Although someone was up shouting at 4 a.m., but I only heard that because our alarm was on for 5. And I woke up earlier because we were still on British time. So 4 a.m. was like 9 a.m. in the UK, I think, yeah. So yeah, we had a good sleep. We meant to go out for dinner, but we didn't. Well, actually, we did do stuff. We dropped off our stuff, had a bit of a rest, freshened up, and then I said, let's go to the Hudson and let's go for a walk, because we'd been sat all day. So we went for a walk, and we were going to go to the Intrepid, and it was about 1.5 miles there, and it'd be 1.5 miles back. So we were like, that's nice, just a little stroll, and it was very sunny and hot. We had a dinner booked at 7:30 over on sort of 2nd Avenue, the other side of Manhattan, which we actually had cancelled in April when we were here because we were so tired. This time we went tired, but we went on a long walk, and then well, it wasn't a long walk, but it was a walk. And then at the end of this walk, we found, I don't know, I've seen it a few times, up by the Circle Line. It's called the Beast, and it's a speedboat, and people look like they have an amazing amount of fun on it. And it was quite reasonably priced. It was about £20-something each, and there was one going in like 20 minutes. So we love a speedboat ride. So we booked it, and like there and then, and we were on with a school group, I think, or a summer camp group, and it was so much fun. And basically, we decided we'd cancel the meal, which was free cancellation. So cancelled that, let them know that we wouldn't be going, and then we went on the speedboat. Oh my God, it was so much fun. So Norwegian Aqua was there, so we saw that sail out, and then we went on this speedboat, and then whilst we were out on the Hudson on the speedboat, P&O Aurora was there. So it's like, a ship that I recognise. And to be honest, initially I thought it was Arcadia because I hadn't looked which ships would be there because I just didn't think to look really. And yeah, it was nice seeing Aurora coming down. So our speedboat was insane. I mean, the man just got us absolutely soaked, and it was so much fun. But we've survived Hudson water, being completely covered in the Hudson. It was so much fun. They had music blaring. We zoomed down really to the Statue of Liberty. That was the trip. And then he did donuts like around the statue of in front of the Statue of Liberty. And then we went back up Manhattan back. It was great fun. I'd highly recommend it. I think it's about 30-40 minutes. We did get soaked, so do be prepared to get soaked. I don't think there's any part of the boat that keeps dry because the gentleman, there was the captain above us, we couldn't see him, but we could hear him. And then there was another gentleman on for looking after our safety, and he was going around with the super soaker. So anyone that did get wet, he was making wet. So yeah, you need to go expecting to get wet. But it was great fun. And then sailing back, or zooming back up to sort of, it went from Midtown Manhattan where the Circle Line sort of headquarters is. And going back, we went past Aurora again, so that was nice. It was nice seeing a familiar ship. And then we got off, and then we went, where did we go? We went for a drink, I think, in a bar. We might have gone before, I can't remember. But I mean, had soft drinks, but sat in the sun, well, in the shade, actually, because it was very hot. There's loads of people running up and down in the Hudson, like, park alongside the river. I like that park. It's really nice to walk along. It's a nice walk to do if you're in New York. Yeah, busy. Lots of people running. And lots of people cycling as well, but they have a different pathway to go cycling. And yeah, so then we walked back up to the Intrepid and had a look at it. This sort of naval sailing ship came in and was docked up sort of behind the Intrepid. So we had a look at that. Lovely masts. And then we decided we'd walk back to the hotel via Penn Station, really, again, to just have a little recce of where we're going in the morning, and also to go to the Walgreens, because we were on an 11-hour train journey, a 12 or 13-hour actually train journey the next day. So I wanted to get some drinks. I had like water and Robinson's little fruit juices things, and not fruit juices, like concentrated squash. But I wanted some nice drinks and some snacks. So we went back to our Walgreens, got some drinks and some snacks. I say snacks, Hershey's Kisses, and some goldfish cheese, like mini cheddars, really nice. We'd never had them before, but they were delicious. And then we went back to our hotel. We ended up having pizza. We were quite shattered by then. And then we knew we needed an early night because we had to be up at 5, because we wanted to leave the hotel at 6 in order to get to check in for the train. So our train, we did the Adirondack train, which is an Amtrak train that goes from New York City, Penn Station. I've forgotten what it's like a station and train hall sort of attached to Penn. But yeah, it's part of the station. And we got the train from there up to Montreal in Canada. So it took 12 hours, I think. We left there at 7:15, but boarding was at like 6:30, or boarding, like a checking in. So we had to go to the tickets. So David bought tickets for us on the Amtrak app. And then we then had to go to the check-in desk in the station in order to sort of check in. And then they gave us like boarding passes, and also directed us to check in a particular sort of desk for people who were going on across the border to Canada. So they had to look at our passports and stuff. This wasn't like a passport check for Canada, that came at the border, but it was like a pre-check, I guess, to check we had everything. And they gave us like stickers and stuff for our bags, and told us where to wait when the time came for boarding. And then we went to a bagel place, had a lovely breakfast bagel, and then we got on the train. So the train, everyone going across the border to Canada got into the same carriage right at the back of the train. We had, so there was we had looked when we booked to see if there was any chance of like some sort of like special carriage, like first class or anything, and it's not available on this train. It's all classes are the same. So we had a double seat, and it was really comfortable. There were a couple on each side of the carriage of seats of 4 together. So if you were going as a family, you could have a seat of 4. We had a seat for 2. It was very comfortable, sort of leather seats, lots of room. There was 2 plugs on the side as well, that when the power was on in the coach, charged my phone perfectly. There's 2 like pockets in the back of the seats in front of you with lots of space to put stuff, loads of leg room. The seats reclined, although we didn't recline them because people were behind us, and it would encroach on your leg room if someone reclined. And it's a daytime travel, so we didn't need to. There's a table as well that came down, so when we got coffees, we put them on the table. It was a really nice, comfortable train, actually. It cost us $75 each, and for a 13-hour train journey, we didn't think it was too bad. It was quite reasonable. We left New York, 7:15, all on time, and then the journey up through New York State. I ignorantly hadn't realized how big New York State was. So the whole journey really was New York State until we got to the border with Canada, and then it was about an hour in Canada. Or no, maybe 2 hours or so in Canada. I think we went a bit slow. We stopped in Albany in New York, which I, again, ignorantly hadn't realized was the capital of New York State. I never really needed to know what the capital of New York State was, being British. I ignorantly thought it was New York City. So we learned it was Albany. So we stopped there for just under 2 hours. I'm not really sure why, but I mean, it didn't bother us. We got off, took it in turns to go and see the front of the train. There were I know why. There was two trains merged together, and we decoupled there. And that other train went to Toronto and up through Niagara and up to Toronto. So we decoupled there. And then, the conductor came in on an announcement and said that people could go up into the station of Albany if they wanted, as long as they came back at 11:15, I think it was. Some people went, others stayed on the train. We stayed on the train, really. The temperature on the train was nice as well. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, just right. We had some coffee. They use Starbucks coffee. If you're a coffee snob, they literally just had filter coffee. I'm no coffee snob. I'll have caffeine however it comes. So we had nice Starbucks coffees. We then watched the scenery go by. The Hudson Valley was beautiful. I think we were probably a bit too early for all the colours of the fall and the leaves. They were changing, and it was beautiful. But I think because it's been quite warm, maybe they weren't quite the colours that they will be maybe in a couple of weeks. But I mean, we booked it because it was the time we were going on the cruise. It wasn't specifically for the colours, the autumn colours, the fall colours. So what we saw, we were very impressed with and looked beautiful. Lots of cute little quaint stations as we went up. Lots of farm land. Lots of riverside, Hudson. Oh, it was beautiful, really nice, really nice. Saw lots of herons, lots of birds as we were going up. We stopped every so often. Really, when we did stop at these tiny little stations, we didn't stop for long. The conductor announced that we were going to be stopping there and announced which doors would be open. And then it was quick off, quick on. Lots of honking of the horn of the train we could hear. There was lots of level crossings. So every crossing, they were beeping. If trains were coming the other way, they tended to beep. We didn't pass that many trains, though. At one point, we passed the southbound train. So every day, the train, one goes from New York to Montreal, and one goes from Montreal to New York. And then so it was a slow journey, but it was nice. We had fun. It was an adventure. If you're easily bored, I wouldn't go on it because you will get bored. You need to be able to sit there, entertain yourself, be happy watching the beautiful scenery as you go by. Occasionally, I play a game on my phone or something, or have a read or something. My husband bought his Kindle, but I don't think he really used it much. It was a lovely journey. It really was. I don't think I'd do it again. Definitely not in a rush anyway. But that's only because 12, 13 hours is a long time to sit and watch the land go by. And I think, I'd do it again at some point in my life, I think. But maybe sit on the other side of the train and see the other view. So when you're leaving New York, if you're facing the direction of travel and you sit on the left-hand side, you'll get great views of the Hudson. And if you sit on the right, you'll get great views of the valley when you're higher up with the Adirondacks, and that way you'll get better views. But to be fair, I'm pretty sure you could have changed to the other side of the train. But they were quite militant on putting when they checked your ticket, and they checked it a couple of times, and then they put little tickets on above where your cases were, above your head. I think you're supposed to take with you when you went to the cafe of the train. I didn't, and no one asked for it. And the cafe wasn't far. We were in the very back carriage. There was a carriage between us, and then the cafe cut. And the cafe, their cafe carriage even had had a cafe like in it. There was different. You could go and sit there at the table and eat or drink there. We did have lunch on board. We have a macaroni cheese that was delicious. It's a microwave one, but it tasted lovely. We They sold Coke products on board as well, so we had Coca-Cola can with our lunch. And then in the border, so we stopped at the last town in America that we were stopping, and we stopped at, and then we were given instructions then. So we'd already been given a declaration form to fill in, and you can fill in one form for up to 4 people if they're all a legal family, or a family that live in the same house, I think was their criteria. So filled that in. And then the border force people on the Canadian border, they come and come onto the train, and they examine everyone's declaration form and passports, and look at you and question you and ask you why you're going to Canada and how long you're going to be in Canada. And to be fair, we didn't get many questions. We got asked if we'd been to Canada before. We got asked why we were going to Montreal, how we were traveling away from Montreal. Yeah, it was all very good, really. Some of the people on board got questioned more than others. I couldn't really say as to why. I mean, yeah, it felt a bit unfair sometimes, but I mean, they obviously have their, reasons why they should question some people more than others. We did see one lady taken off the train. Don't know what happened to her. There was another couple who, I think there was language barriers. So obviously the guards will speak French and English, French primarily, English they spoke as well. But these people, I think, didn't speak either. So it was difficult, and I think a bit of Google Translate was used. They did get taken away, but then they brought back. Yeah, it was, I mean, they've got to protect their borders, yeah. So it was quite a serious check. A few questions asked. Very friendly though, very efficient and very polite. We were told by the conductor of the train, he's like, don't ask how long it will take how long it takes. He's like, sometimes it doesn't take long, other times it takes a long time. We took about an hour, I think, which I think is probably classed as quite good. He said it very much depends on who's on board. And I thought naively he meant who of the guards, if some of them maybe take longer than others, but I think it was just which of us were on board and who had sort of bits of stories and passports that needed investigating a bit more. But yeah, so we sat there in the sidings for quite a while. Yeah, about an hour, I think, maybe just under. And then we just, no announcement that we'd all passed, we just suddenly started moving and the train went going, with one lady short. So I hope she's all right. And then we were in Canada, and a lot of farms in Canada, a lot of agricultural land that we were passing over. It was beautiful because it was right at sunset. And then in no time we were in Montreal. And then in Montreal we got off the train. And that was it. We'd already done passport control and everything, so we were just free to go. David booked the hotel here, and he aptly booked the Hotel David. So we walked actually from the station down to here. He had an earpod in one ear because it was dark, so he was listening to the instructions and I was following him. Came down a very steep hill with my cases, which was interesting. But yeah, then we got here, and it's got us a lovely loft apartment for a few nights. And yeah, it was a good journey, an adventure. But like you say, if you get easily bored, I wouldn't book the train. But if you like an adventure, you like to have a look at different countries, you are happy to sit there and just look out the window with a coffee, your loved ones, and just admiring the view and just looking at how different a country is, and the mountains, the river, the valley, I'd really highly recommend booking it, especially because it's quite reasonably priced as well, $75. But again, it's not something I do in a rush because I think it's quite a unique experience. And 13 hours is a long time to spend on a train, but somehow it feels much better than a 13-hour flight. I think because you could get up, walk around. Also, I forgot to say toilets. So they were good. Initially, I was like, oh, when I walked through one carriage and they smelt. But then our carriage, they were right at the back. So it was only our carriage that used it. You know, the other ones, I think multiple carriages could use. And they were clean. I think they were cleaned quite soon after we left New York. I don't know by who. I didn't see anyone. But, and they were, do you know, like in a toilet on a train or something, you think on the floor and all the water you see and you think, is that water or we? These were spotless, to be fair. And they were big and spacious. And yeah, can't fault them at all. But yeah, on that, I would recommend, if you like an adventure and you need to get from New York to Montreal, I would highly recommend trying it. Thanks for watching.